All right, guys, welcome in to a really depressing edition of the Garden Report. The Celtics.
Come on, guys, look alive, look alive.
Woo! The Celtics
look alive.
Game 4 to the
How do
Heat.
you look alive after that?
In just disgusting fashion.
We'll turn it up in the second quarter of the show.
Yeah, it just was just a very uninspired effort from a team that really had it is a game they absolutely had to win. This segment is brought to you by CarShield. Let's go around the horn here and get everybody's thoughts. Game 4 again. This was not what we expected, right, Jimmy?
This was the complete opposite of what I expected, but it's honestly on par with this team lately because I don't know what to expect from these guys. That the consistency hasn't been there. I mean, they had every reason to be up and ready to go, balls to the walls, coming out strong in this game 4 after the way you played in game 3. You had the nice 3-4 day stretch there. Yeah, riding high with some momentum. Team chemistry hopefully is doing a lot better than it was after game 2. And you just come out with, whoopee cushion, dud. And that was just unfortunate. Now you're down 3-1 to a Heat team that is tough as nails, and you've got really an uphill battle to the extreme here.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they're flat. They were just flat all the way around. I mean,
Yeah.
Tatum going scoreless in the first half. Jaylen Brown picking up early fouls. Marcus Smart with the turnovers. I mean, you can go on and on.
Yeah, the Heat continue to look like the team that just wants it more. And I know that's so cliche to say, but it's so fitting with these two teams, right? I mean, both teams had stretches where they struggled offensively, and the Celtics just never could just put the defensive clamps on this Heat team in the second half when it mattered most. I think that's what it really boils down to. Yeah, I don't think the Celtics thought that Tyler Herro would go off the way he did, but they didn't stop the bleeding. They kept going. This wasn't one of those games where Tyler just went off in the fourth quarter and you're not quite sure what to do. The Celtics knew what to do, but Tyler just kept outdoing it, outdoing their defensive approach. And then now you're stuck with, a fourth quarter where you're leaning on Jason Tatum, who's going off in the second half, or leaning on guys to step up down the stretch, and the Celtics just couldn't put together a run. Just couldn't do it.
Yeah, and it's a frustrating game throughout just because of how poorly the Celtics played for long stretches of it. Almost the entire first half, periods of the fourth quarter there. Again, they had a late surge there in the third and kind of made a game of it, but just turnovers, bad shot selection, breakdowns on defense.
Same old, man.
Just so many moments where it's just, why did you do that now? And it just kind of kept happening, Bobby.
Yeah, crunch time execution too, which is what we've been talking about since Toronto. Yeah. They're within 4 in the final minutes of this game. A play goes against them, and all of a sudden they're just letting the Heat run out in transition. Herro gets an easy layup. Dragic gets a wide open 3 in the corner because they're not playing defense on that play. And for some reason, around 2 minutes left in this game, 3 minutes left in this game, we know it ended up being closer than that, 7 points at that point. They gave up on 2 plays and ended up having massive consequence in this game. They had a chance to win this late, but it felt like we had a few plays go against us, so we're going to stop playing. Second quarter, there was a ton of that. Things going against them, turnovers, Herro hitting a million shots. They weren't in it intensity-wise. But you also see some of their best play of the series in this game. The third quarter, Smart's going crazy, dishing it around. So they're an on-off team that was off more than on tonight, and that is insanely frustrating because I look at the way the Heat played tonight. Sure, they came up big late, but throughout the stretches of this game, they were hitting rock bottom to try to keep the Celtics in it, missing shots off offensive rebounds and everything else.
It very much had the feel, and again, we were talking about it during the game, it really did feel like the opposite of almost every game the Celtics have played this year, where they shouldn't have been hanging around. The Heat let them hang around, and the Celtics didn't capitalize on that. All playoffs long, it felt like the Celtics always had these teams, with Toronto and the games 1 and 2 with the Heat at arm's length, and then just let them hang around, and then let them come back in it. It looked for a little bit that might happen here. And again, they didn't capitalize on, as Bobby, you mentioned, those moments where Miami really hit rock bottom and let the Celtics come back into it. So just a tough night all around. We're going to cut up the blame pie of this game in just a minute. I love the blame pie. But first, we want to tell you about our sponsor, which is CarShield, America's #1 auto protection agency. All you have to do is call 800-CAR-6000, mention the code BEAT, or visit carshield.com, use the code BEAT to save 10%. Now, guys, back to the game again. 112-109, game 4. They're down 3-1. This was one of those games where it looked like, okay, in the beginning we're going to let Tatum have it. And then late in the game, we're like, what the hell's Marcus doing? And then, Jimmy, you were mad at Jalen. And Josue, Gordon, or Brad, or everybody. And then there's Kemba's defense. And then there's a lot of things. Let's slice up the blame pie here. Let's start with you, Josue. Where are you directing your ire?
I mean, the first one I talked about right out of the gate into our postgame show was Brad Stevens. I didn't agree with seeing Gordon Hayward out there for long stretches of defensive time, defensive possessions when it matters most. I mean, look, you used 30 minutes from Gordon Hayward in game 3. 3 days rest wasn't going to go a long way the same way it did for the other players compared to Gordon Hayward. Now, you have another 30 minutes from Gordon. And I'm not saying that I'm against the idea of Gordon Hayward playing close to 30 minutes. Maybe that's exactly what this team needs. I mean, clearly it was a big lift in game 3. But what I'm against is not preparing him for that stretch. He has to be better prepared for that stretch down in the fourth quarter. I think the Miami Heat did a really good job of exposing him, whether it was him getting caught up in tough switches or whether it was one-on-one with Jimmy Butler down low off a switch. Him and, of course, Kemba Walker gets a big chunk of that as well. They have big targets on their back. But right after Kemba Walker, I think it's Gordon Hayward. He's having a tough time keeping up with these guys defensively. And I think that Brad Stevens, I mean, for him to just, give Grant Williams less than a minute, and as Cantor doesn't see the floor, Shemi Ojale plays 4 minutes. Like, look, I know these guys aren't people that you can constantly rely on, but you have to find a way, or Brad Stevens, rather, has to find a way to divvy up these minutes from his bench and get a little bit more help than that. You can't rely on his top 5 guys, to be clocking in 30 to 36 minutes down the stretch. And look, I get it. These guys need it. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, sure, they're good for it. But someone like Gordon Hayward, he is not look, game 3 looked great, but he is not as far as long as everyone thinks.
He had a kid today, for goodness sakes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what? All that adrenaline, it died down by the fourth quarter, John.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big piece. That was a big old piece of pie right there, Joseph.
Yeah, man, I had to get Kemba. I had to break out Kemba real quick with a slice too, man.
Yeah, little slice for Kemba. Jimmy, go.
I'm going to go ahead and cut my piece listen, there's a lot of pieces that I can cut, but I'm going to specifically cut my piece for Marcus Smart. Not to take away anything what this guy's given the Celtics throughout the course of the playoffs, but they need more of that Marcus Smart. They don't need what Marcus Smart gave them tonight, which was tons of turnovers late in that game. I think he maybe had 3 fourth quarter turnovers. Just sloppiness. I thought that, his energy is something that the Celtics thrive off of. I didn't see it as much as I've seen it in other games. And again, he's not the only guy. I thought the Celtics came out flat and stayed flat. But I think Marcus Smart was trying to rely on the outside shot. It wasn't there. Some sloppy turnovers. I think he had 4 on the night. And it was just one of those games where it was from bad to worse.
Yep. Bobby?
Didn't love Stevens tonight. He's not to blame. Smart, you have a few points, Jimmy, but overall I thought he saved them in the third. You look to the top of the team, and the reason they're here in a lot of aspects is Jason Tatum. The reason they fall short here, to me, is Jason Tatum. And he got over-anointed to some degree in that Toronto series by Marcus Smart's plays late in that game to close it out. Now, I love Tatum. I think has a phenomenal future, Hall of Famer, all those different things. But he's 22. He's taken on lead ball handling duties for the first time. And again, in a huge spot, 6 turnovers tonight, 0 points in the first half. We're completely out of it through stretches of that. I don't know how you can look anywhere else but him tonight, especially the massive, massive lapses he has in the important moments of this game. Now, he comes up big in that third quarter, hits a couple threes, gets baseline, back-to-back 3-point plays. Then the fourth again, the heaves, all the crazy hero shots. He's figuring it out. I'm not going to kill him. And the fact that he ascended as much as he did this year is why they're even here.
Oh, you can't go back on it. You cut your piece.
No, I'm doing it, because 6 turnovers. You're mad about 4 Smart turnovers, even though he had 11 assists. Look to the lead ball handler, and it's Tatum now.
Tatum should still get a crust of that pie. Are you serious right now, Bobby? The kid had 28 points. Look, I'm not going to sit here and be like he's a top 5 guy, but the Celtics aren't even in this if it isn't for Jason Tatum. Look, I'll take 28 points for Jason Tatum. If they all come in the second half, even better. That's the problem with this team, guys. It's the second half. It's not the first half.
A lot of it came in the third, 16 in the third, 12 in the fourth.
Right, that's true, but at least you're getting something out of that second half. I'm not excited to see him go 0 for 6, but the guy flipped it around, shot 45%, dropped 28 on him. Come on. I mean, if he wins the game, everyone's talking about Jason Tatum saved them.
We usually look to the top guy on a team when they fall short, and that's what he became, for better or worse, this year.
I was close to going Tatum also, but Bobby took that piece. So I'm going to go Kemba. And again, I'm looking at the top. And the reason I'm doing that is Tatum did salvage it. And without him, it's a blowout in the second half. And they've survived cool first halves from him before. But I agree that you just can't do that. You can't just take a half off in game 4 of a must-win game in the conference finals. You can't do it. People are looking to you. You just can't oh man, I just wasn't into it. That's not an option, okay? It is an option to play your game and just miss shots. It's not an option to just sleepwalk through the half. So I find Tatum's first half performance unacceptable, almost to the point that it negates the second half performance, because it takes the whole team out of its rhythm because you're counting on him to be there. And when he's not, you're like, what do I do now? And it knocks the whole team out of sync. But Kemba's just been consistently bordering on liability too much of these playoffs, okay?
He's getting away with it, John. Defensively, he's been getting away with it.
And he's been saved, but I mean, he gets picked on defensively, and when the offense isn't there, and when he's not working as your primary ball handler, it's just negatives. You're checking too many cons boxes with Kemba, which is just surprising because it just shouldn't be that way. So I'm not putting it all on him. I'm just I tend to agree a little bit with Bobby there because you expect this from Tatum now. He was unminted. He ascended to this, I'm the killer role, give me the ball, everybody out of my way sort of thing. So you can't disappear. You can't just not show up. But Kemba's been consistently disappointing to the point that I don't even know
the playoffs,
I just don't even know what I count on him to do anymore.
It's almost like everything's a bonus at this point.
It is, and that's strange because you didn't feel that way with Kemba before. You viewed him as an integral piece if he was healthy to be able to pump in points. And I find myself not being able to count on him or even look forward to moments where he has the ball that Kemba's going to do it. I have no faith anymore. So I don't know. It's a tough one. It was.
There's a lot of pieces to go around. I don't think anyone's answers are wrong, to be completely honest. I mean,
We talked about Jalen too.
Right. I mean, I think there was a lot of blame to go around tonight, and that's why they lost, and that's why they played one of their shittiest games.
Yeah,
and
one
of their worst games.
You hear in the post-game commentary someone like Jaylen Brown say we came out flat. I hate that. I hate that.
Charles Barkley said that the other night. What? You're in the playoffs? You came out flat? What are you doing?
Well, beyond that, I don't like a person saying we, okay? Either I did or they did. But we is are you passing it around or is everyone's
That's what it felt like tonight, right. Yeah.
I hate that. I hate the we came out flat sort of thing. It's almost as if you're counting on other people to be up when you're down. You can't come out flat either. Nobody can come out flat. I hate it.
So they all did.
Tonight, though,
they all did, and everyone's probably looking around the room I didn't have it, but neither did this guy, and I hate that. I think this is just a cop-out.
Robert Williams played well tonight. He had it.
and then he just barely made an appearance in the second half.
Honestly, I would say Williams and Smart was a bonehead, but he
Smart picked up the pieces for everybody. You look at Kemba's defense. You look at
it up, but he had mistakes down the stretch that I just.
What's Smart? Your fourth or fifth best player. He's picking up the pieces for the guys at the top.
According to you, he's the best player.
He has been in this postseason. And you know why? He's picking up everybody's mark.
After game 2, just like this.
All right, look,
this is how the fight started.
We're going to have a locker room fight, okay? We're going to have a locker room fight if we can.
And then came Jalen. Guys, we're in this together. No finger pointing, guys.
Come on. Chill.
Bobby, you can't say that. You can't say Marcus Smart is the MVP of the playoffs for the Celtics, and then
he's picking up the pieces for Kemba. He's picking up the pieces for Tatum as the ball handler. He's doing everything that everyone else is lapsing in. 3-point shooting when Brown's not there. His playoffs were phenomenal. Did you think Marcus Smart was going to average 20 in the East Finals?
No, I agree. He's had a great playoffs, but now the team's counting on him to keep that going.
Hey, you take the good with the bad with him always. It's just what it is.
Game 5 Friday. we're angry, they're angry. I mean, I don't even know.
Are
if the
they?
Celtics are
Actually, we're
angry.
angrier
No,
than
they
them.
are.
We're angrier. They're just like, didn't play well.
Guess we're in the bubble still.
I'm gonna go wrestle. I'm gonna go wrestle Enos by the pool.
Yeah. See you at the pool.
Yeah,
We'll
go
get
ahead,
one of
look
those
the video.
videos in the next
Jeez.
few days.
Who cares? All right, they hang out. Jeez.
They hang out. It's cool. Once again, segment presented by CarShield. Call 800-CAR-6000. Mention the code BEAT or visit carshield.com. Use the code BEAT to save 10% for Josue Pavone, Jimmy Toscano, Bobby Manning, a very angry bunch. We're going to sign off this Garden Report.